forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.
Have you ever felt like the tighter you hold on to something, the more anxious or worried or maybe fearful you become? Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever gripped something so tightly? And not necessarily do I just mean physically. I mean emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and you're just holding it so tight, and you're maybe carrying something or holding on to something you were never meant to carry or hold on to, but because of maybe fear or the uncertainty or the comfort, the false comfort it provides, you now become more anxious over it. Last week, we talked about this, and this is going to tie back into it, and we're going to not just talk about peace, but now we're going to dig into how to get there, starting with what I call the exchange. Exchange control, embrace surrender, and encounter peace. Welcome to the Mindset Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Velasquez, and I am thrilled you are here today. And if you did not get a chance last week, go back and listen to last week's episode, because this is just it ties into it. You can call it a part two, whatever you want. I'm breaking down peace as an acronym. And so next week, we will be breaking down the A, but I want to talk about this idea of exchange. And I want to introduce this truth to you. Surrender is not weakness. It's the pathway to real peace. And do not buy into that lie. I'm not talking about quitting. I'm not talking about giving up. I'm talking about surrender. And that idea for some of us, and I believe at times all of us, is difficult because surrender makes us feel like we're giving up, that we're quitting or we're giving in. And the truth is, we're not. And it's too often surrender's perceived as weakness, and it's not weakness. It's the foundation for where the exchange happens is in surrender. And so I want to break this down, and I want to talk about that idea because the all too often lie we tell ourselves with something like surrender, and we equate it to being weak, is just the illusion. It's the illusion of needing to be in control. And when we're in control, we cling to things like comfort, predictability, outcomes. Why? Because they feel safe. Here's a great example. Maybe it's not great, but I think it's practical. I think it's simple enough. It's foundational, third grade level stuff. If you've ever been to a restaurant that you generally like, and you may not be this person, but some people are these people, and they're the person who orders the same thing no matter what. And why? They do it because they know exactly what they're going to get. There's no risk involved. There's no uncertainty, which then leads into disappointment maybe. I know I'm talking about food, so this is very minuscule, but it still is principally aligned with why we tend to cling to comfort, predictability, and outcomes. Because we love it. I don't have to then worry. Like, have you ever ordered something for the first time and asked yourself, man, am I going to like this? I hope I like it. Oh my gosh, what if I don't like it? And we start having this inner dialogue of nonsense, really. Okay. And so when we live in that world, in the illusion of control, because when we order the thing we know, we think we're in control. But the truth is, what if they cooked that wrong or something went bad? Who knows? Okay, I'm going to get off the food thing. But what it is it's a false peace. It isn't peace at all. It's an emotional self-protection. It's something we do to make ourselves feel better, or we use words like coping. Okay, and it's kind of a coping mechanism. But real peace, okay, if we want real peace, it requires letting go of what we were never meant to carry, what is mostly, if not always, it's never in our control anyways. And so we have to just let it go. We have to surrender. We have to exchange, right? That unhealthy emotional self-protecting mode we go into, and exchange it for real peace. And so we have to surrender. And this is a powerful thing. Write it down if you can, or come back, pause it, and whatever. But write this down, is that we'd rather live with predictable unrest than risk surrendering for peace we can't control, which is crazy, right? When we have predictability, it's saying it's coming at the expense of an unrest. We're just always uneasy, anxious, nervous, maybe fearful, maybe like, oh, what's going to happen? I don't know, but you know what? At least I know this, and so I'm going to live here. And that's crazy. And instead of just letting go and saying, you know what? I have no idea what's going to happen, but it's not for me to carry or to know, maybe. And so I'm going to let go. I'm going to exchange that need for comfort, which, by the way, if you take the word comfort, and I'm not saying this is like some theological thing, I'm just stating comfort is the same word minus the T as conform, right? We conform to things that bring us comfort, predictability, and outcomes because it's safe. But we need to not live in that, and we need to learn to exchange the false peace for real peace, which starts at surrendering. Listen, I'm going to give us a quick biblical breakdown in the truth of where this kind of comes in and why it's so important. And it's like a divine blueprint for, mental and emotional release, right? Because a lot of the times we're holding something in our mind, in our emotions, and we just need to let it go. It's like crying, right? This is scientifically proving crying is an emotional release. But sometimes we hold it in because we're like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to look weak. I don't want to look. No, it's so important. When we don't, we hold all this tension and all this stuff. And I'm not saying we just cry about anything. I'm just stating a lot of times we won't cry. And it's not just men and women. I think both, because we're trying to hold on to something that makes us feel like we're in control, but really deep down inside, we want to release it and just feel at ease. And Philippians 4:6-7 tells us this, not about crying, but it says, do not be anxious. I mean, it's like, do not, hey, sometimes. No, do not be anxious ever. Oh, well, that's easy. Don't be anxious. Like, my gosh, like I feel anxious, if I'm being honest, every day on some level. So it's not like an overnight thing. It's recognizing that in order to walk in peace, that, which I'll explain here in a minute, that only God gives, I need to surrender and let go of trying to be in control, and then I won't be so anxious. But because I love comfort, I'm anxious about most everything because it's predictable. And so I live in the unrest instead of risking the surrender for the peace that I can't control, which is crazy. Anyway, so the rest of the verse is, don't be anxious, but in everything, and it says by prayer, or I like this word, by asking, right? It says present your requests to God, right? By asking God, and it says, and the peace of God will then guard our hearts and minds. And we talked about that last week. So go back, connect the dots here with this verse. Peace doesn't come by accident. It comes by exchange. And so we need to release all the mental stress, all the emotional stress, all the things that aren't necessarily true, but we feel and find comfort in them. And so we hold on to them so tightly, and we need to relinquish control and surrender, right? John 14:27 tells us that Jesus offers a peace not as the world gives. And so what does that mean? I was thinking about this. There are people in our lives, unintendedly, right? They will give us advice or tell us things because they're trying to comfort us. Okay, as a parent, and I'll share this again maybe later, but as a parent, I do that. I try to comfort my children, and sometimes I'm not really helping them. And sometimes I just need to let go of it and say, hey, Jesus gives a peace that I can't give you. And so I need to teach my kids to let go of the anxiousness or the anxiety or whatever that's maybe they're experiencing or feeling. Not to say the thing that's happened to them isn't real, but now because of that, they're starting a dialogue of something that's totally untrue. And so I want that peace, not the peace that the world gives me, not this false peace I sometimes try to give my kids. No. The real peace that passes all understanding. Peace equals God's presence. not the absence of the problem. Okay, there will be problems, trials, tribulations. We know this, and if you don't, the word tells us. And that's easy to say, but the reality is, my point is, stuff just hits us in the face. It's gonna come. It's gonna happen. So the question is, maybe what are we, or what are you holding onto so tightly, right? And what is the outcome you can't control? Maybe it's your kids. Maybe it is parenting for you. Maybe it's finances, reputation. I don't know. Maybe it's just the idea of the unknown. Oh my God, how scary. Like, what are you doing tomorrow? Think about how many times someone asks that question and genuinely, right? Well, hey, what are you guys doing next week? Or they ask the question, hey, what did you guys do this over the weekend? And I'm thinking, oh my God, like, what did I do? I don't know. And it's just, number one, it's hard to remember. And then I have to like go through it. But when we're talking about futuristically, especially for the unknown, say, hey, what are you doing next week? I'm like, my God, I'm just trying to make it to the next 5 minutes. Okay. And listen, this isn't about giving up or quitting. Okay. It's not about giving up. It's about giving over. What do I mean by that? I am not an administrative like genius, nor is that my primary gift. Do I have the ability to do administrative things? Yes. But guess what? I just release and surrender all of that to my wife. And here's why. It's not just because she's a woman. It's because God, I believe, genuinely has given her the gift of administration. She's so organized, detailed, all the things. And guess who has to not ever worry? Me. I never worried about it, ever. Because I don't try to figure it out and try to get it done and try to be, no, I just let it go. And that's what we're to do with God. I'm not equating my wife to God. I am saying, for the practical example, there's a lot of peace in me not trying to hold on to being super administrative as if that were my gift. And that's not what God wants me to carry. Why would I do that? So remember that surrender is not quitting. It's trusting someone stronger. And my wife is stronger in the realm of the administration of our household. Okay. That does not mean I am weak. It does not mean I have no authority. It does not mean I can't be administrative. It just means I have way more peace that passes the general and all understanding that I'd rather walk in. Okay. And so I'll kind of dig back into this just a little bit, because I want to bring a little bit more clarity, maybe if I haven't already, but just the idea of parenting, right? I have a 15-year-old, and here's what I like to say. Today, literally today, as I'm recording this podcast, it's the first day. This is the first time, better yet, this is how I say it. This is the first time that I am parenting a 15-year-old today. This is my first time being alive today. This is my first time being married to my wife today. Does that mean I know nothing about her and I have no? No. It just means that today is a new day. And it has its own problems and worries and things that will present themselves. And so that's enough. Why am I going to worry about tomorrow? Today is enough. That's what the word tells us. And so why I'm bringing this example up is because it's so easy as a parent, especially as a 15-year-old. Like, I believe this culturally in the Western world, we are way far behind in the realm of like rites of passage or other cultures. Kids are like, it was more common over time for kids at a much younger age to be doing things that we would equate to adulthood today in the Western world. So my son's, assuming, let's just say 12 is like true form of manhood. He is a full-on man. Well, he's 3 years removed from that. That means I can't be anxious about trying to hold things over him or be in control of things and think, oh my God, what if he messes this up? Oh, I got to do. No. That's ridiculous. I just need to let it go. Right? Because in that moment of what is a false security, a comfort, a guarantee, right? If I have him do something the way I would do it, I know it's going to work out. So stupid. But we do that. And in that moment, I'm not protecting. I'm actually trying to play God. And I'm not God. My job is to encourage, to steward. Yes, sometimes we need to interject, but it's ultimately to let go, release control, and let him do it. Let my son do it and trust God's got it, right? In that moment, I just need to order something different off the menu, and I need to risk uncertainty, because at the back end of that comes a peace that we all really want. Okay. And so think about it. What area in your life are you trying to maybe micromanage because it feels safer than surrender? Ask yourself that question. And I'll leave you and us with this is I'm asking myself these questions too. But what's one thing what's one thing we can exchange this week? What's one thing? I know there's more than one. I guarantee there's more than one. But just one. What's one thing you can exchange? And then ask yourself, where are you gripping something too tightly? I know it's kind of the same question, but just ask them both. What's one thing you can exchange? What's one thing you're gripping onto so tightly so you can be aware of it? And let me encourage you really quick. Okay. The order would be pause, pray, release. Let me break that down. Okay. I don't want this to be super spiritual or overcomplicated. Practical thinking here. It just means anytime you find yourself in the day, take a moment. That's the pause. The pray part is just ask. Ask yourself, and I encourage you to ask God. You're like, I don't necessarily pray to God. Fine, just ask anyways. See what happens. And then whatever it is you hear, write it down, take note of it, and then let it go. Surrender. Be like, you know what? I don't want that anymore. I don't want to have to hold on to that so tightly. And I'm actually going to stop relying on myself, my comfort, my need for, the certain and the outcome to be guaranteed. And I'm just going to let it go. And I'm going to live in the world and risk uncertainty because I want peace in my life. Try it. Right? And then, man, I pray this over you. I pray that God will show you what you can exchange. Maybe it's fear, for example, and that you get peace. And I pray that you have the courage to surrender what only you can surrender and allow God. I just believe it's God. There's only a peace that passes all understanding, comes from one person, and that is the person of God. But I just pray that over you. You guys, as always, I appreciate you so much for tuning in. I hope this is encouraging. And remember, peace isn't found in control. It's found in surrender. Open your hands, let go, and let God fill the space with this peace where you've been filling it with something that is not really control. It's a false sense of control. Release it and let God do a work that only He can do. Thank you for tuning in. As always, in the show notes, sign up for the free Mindset Mastery weekly email I put out every week just to get you jump started for the week. Maybe you've noticed I've been doubling up the email with the podcast, kind of keeping some fluidity with that. We'll see how it goes. That may change. And then if you want to connect and you're like, man, I'm ready to just go to the next level. Listen, this is what I do. This is what I'm called to do. Amongst other things is I help individuals, but particularly I focus with husbands and fathers, and I help them lead in the home with honor, courage, and commitment. And all of these things principally tie into that. So if that's you, hey, drop me a call, sign up for a free coaching call. I'd love to connect and see if I can help you in any way and add value. And hey, as always, share this with someone. Let them know we exist. I'd love to make an impact on more people, not because it's about numbers, but because I believe this brings encouragement to people in a way that truly goes beyond just my voice on this mic. And so, you guys, Sam Velasquez with the Mindset Mastery Podcast, and we will see you on the other side. Peace.
God forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.